Madang Governor arrested and charged. Kikori landowners get first LNG payments. And church reforming drug addicts in Enga.
This is National Emtv News with Jeremy Mogi.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. Madang Governor Peter Yama has been arrested and 6 separate charges have been laid against him by police. 2 of the charges relate to the 2017 national election case. He was released on a 6,000 kina police bail and will appear at the Madang District Court on the 12th of this month.
This morning, Madang Governor Peter Yama went to the Jomba police station to be interviewed. He was taken into the provincial police commander's office for questioning and later was charged on 6 counts. The 6 charges include 2 counts of bribery for the 2017 national elections, 1 count each on attempting to pervert the course of justice, conspiracy to commit crime, and abuse of office. The governor is out on a 6,000 kina police bail. Meanwhile, the governor rallied support and held a public gathering at the provincial government's office after his arrest. He told supporters he has to face the law. He presented himself and is waiting to appear in court on the 12th of this month.
Thank you, people of Madang. Me and my son will call me. Law and blow me blow order. You blow lily month as well as a club, you blow all the time now. Go long sell now.
Masa Luis, National Emtv News, Madang.
48-year-old McQueenie Mipe Wire from Hagen District in the Western Highlands Province is facing conspiracy, false pretense, forgery and misappropriation charges involving over 2 million kina. Wire was arrested in February on allegations of transferal of shares from Palimp Limited, which police say owns close to 2,500 shares in the Moge Nambuga Milim Investment Limited. Based on investigations conducted by the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Unit, an initial arrest was made in April 2019 where another person, Tom Mipe, was charged for a similar offense. Fraud Squad Director Matthew Damari said fraudulent share transfers and changing of directorships of companies is becoming prevalent in Papua New Guinea. Damari called on the Investment Promotion Authority to carry out proper checks before effecting such changes. The Madang Highway has deteriorated to a state where it has become more dangerous and unsafe for PMV operators and the traveling public. Frequent road users spoke to Emtv yesterday have expressed frustrations over the continuous wear and tear of their vehicles because of the road.
This is how bad the Madang Highway is, yet this is one of the major corridors for the country. This national highway links Madang to Morobe and the Highlands provinces. Yet this road has become a dangerous route for passengers as well as PMV operators and drivers.
Just around 7 days a week, yeah. Like looking at accident, over something on the road. Now I'm road to go west.
Yesterday, Emtv took pictures of the highway and witnessed firsthand the struggles the traveling public and vehicle owners face on a daily basis. While on our way, the crew had to respond to a first-time mother who had complications delivering and was not able to get to the nearest health center because of the road conditions.
Big problem now, facing them road here. So national highway plan bagarap so plenty of ambulance blow me play in district go also help me quick long and walk breakdown. So lo me also one leader inside lo audit lo LLG me looks out government must look straightens the road lo sunabundi Madang national highway they must straighten.
The community leader also spoke on the difficulties they face in terms of proper health facilities that he believes is still needed in the district, especially during emergency cases. Moreover, Yaba says the road condition has also contributed to the wear and tear of ambulances, making it more difficult for them to get to health clinics on time.
we can talk straight or say, road lumblem the people bagarap. National highway bagarap so. Okay, all ambulance blow, health center na sub health center blomipla or run down. Inana blow move because blow. Road install conditions all bagarap. So I'm not going to help people blomipla. So my mom stop 2 days now na. Emtv, you come up here, you bring me to a place where I'm about close to 10 kilometers now what we run come down from signal South Health Center.
The level of risk increases when traveling during the night, but it is the only means of travel available for the people who can afford to travel by road. They are already frustrated on how bad the roads have become and the continuous neglect by the national government to fix this national highway.
Government must look na straight the road. The road big the road.
Bramu Nicholas engaged 2 machineries and a number of workmen to help fix and do maintenance along sections of the highway at Nauru. Martha Louise, National Emtv News, Madang.
Beneficiaries of the PNG LNG gas pipeline in Kikori in the Gulf Province are expected to receive their royalty payments today, totaling up to over 31.3 million kina for the years 2014 to 2018, while the equity payments add up to over 23 million kina for the years 2014 to 2016. The Kikori people become the first pipeline landowners to receive their payments from the multi-billion kina PNG LNG project.
A total of over 54 million kina will be given to Kikori landowners as royalty and equity payments. Money that has been kept in trust accounts for many years because requirements under the Oil and Gas Act were not met and other landowner disputes that contributed to the delay in releasing these funds.
Our Honorable Governor has made his business to make sure that pipeline landowners, they benefit what rightly belongs to them, the equity and the royalty payments. Also, thank you, Lord. Governor Yumi, and not forgetting his fellow governors of Southern Highlands, Hela, Western Province, and Central Province, where only work one time. Lord, make sure that our benefits comes through now. Yumi Kisim, the benefit that rightly belongs to Yumi.
For Kikori landowners, the 679-kilometer LNG pipeline runs through their customary land. But for many years, they have been without proper road network, communication and other basic government services.
We have a minister, as I said, very important because this is historic. Not one PDL, not any other segment where oil has been produced and carried since the agreements were signed have not got their fair share, their royalties. No got. This is the first. That's why it's historic.
It is through the PNG LNG gas project that landowners are seeing services like banking facilities reach their community.
Segment 7. So, load is like 20 million and oil and gas and low and clear 40% and Bambla distribute them 30% and by community project not 30% member investment thing. So case you talk distribute long and we are going man like haram long and about 9.2 million okay 9.2 million and Bambla distributed. So this money stop long. You will like some one time as of tomorrow before 4, money about ready here. Tomorrow.
In the last 3 years, the locals have been working closely with MRDC in completing the identification exercise, electing the segment director, and opening their bank accounts in preparation to receive their benefits.
Today, M1 play important day you missed up one time now, where you play by Naplo looking some benefit, you come and you play for your participation in the national project. By looking. However, me like Larim this message one time you play. Is that time you play kiss him this play? The governor gave you a clue already and talk. You use him this benefits, you kiss him wisely.
Thekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, landowners in Kikori say the PNG LNG project agreement is due for renewal and want the Petroleum Department to look into this. Segment 7 Director Waro Umabe said the project agreement signed in Kokopo in 2008 is over a decade old and needs to be reviewed. Other concerns raised in line with the PNG LNG and gas project include the upgrading of the BSP Bank in Kikori and follow-ups on the 5 million Kina business development grant promised to the Kikori people by the Petroleum Department.
That 5 million Kina commitment that was made by your department didn't come true. And we are still waiting for that 5 million Kina. I am sure your department secretary, Mr. David Manau, is very much aware of this issue. David Manau and I took up this issue with the Department of Treasury, and the advice they gave us was that there must be a special NEC submission from the department through you as a minister to NEC for special recognition.
Finally, you kiss him legally kai lo pig, where you cut him lo Kokopo, where you cut him lo Port Moresby, and yet these agreements have lapsed, as Waro has rightly put. This agreement is in need for review. It's over 9 to 11 years old. But the important thing is this. Minister and Augustine will tell us. The important thing is this. You are now all recognized. There may be problems, but you now have legally recognized entities. If you have missed out, get the review done. I support that. But in the meantime, those legally recognized entities, you must use them.
And strong plan law, outstanding issues where me like him national government, and me must address him. Me work in sample list, but me by asking him, and me can put him down black and white. Now behind can rope is from me. Now me by sit down. We'll put it together with all the other issues that come from all the other landowners throughout the country. Now me by address him. An important thing is that our PNG LNG agreement you me signing back law 2008. And me due for review law 2018. But for some reason you may not pick him up. And that review includes review of landowner issues. So we will be going into that space only this week, that's all.
This is MTV National News. We'll be back with more after the break. Welcome back to the news. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in the Western Highlands local mission is taking responsibility of addressing social problems in society. The local mission, which looks after churches in 7 provinces, runs its social service program by rehabilitating drug addicts at Wapenamanda in Enga province. This is also part of its preparedness program to host a series of international evangelistic meetings throughout PNG in May this year.
Church is giving its attention and prominence to the disadvantaged and underprivileged class of people to remind them that they still belong to a society. By working with drug addicts and rehabilitating them, the church has seen behavioral changes to the former addicts, and they no longer think of themselves as outcasts.
Maybe I can notice some like a behavioral change, Lord. Na time maybe monitoring all na. Maybe go back na check him or chats passes maybe on the ground only go look him or some only start long lose him all drugs na all chats maybe take him or start long put him on legal rehabilitation programs where
a recent meet and greet program hosted by the SDA Church at Wapenamanda, Enga province, saw 1,800 drug addicts giving their lives to Christ. The church then hosted retreat programs and tried to meet the addicts' simple needs by providing livelihood programs. Most of them who were uneducated and unemployed were provided with food crop seedlings, fish and chicken to start farming to earn their living.
Or you start planting potato, or looking fish farming, or some kind of livelihood projects where all the church-based, local church-based initiative, only will assist him all and make him also. People start in a small way.
The addicts who once felt hopeless, rejected and no sense of identity are now changed people in their own society. The church is also appealing to work with government agencies and non-governmental organizations to address social problems in the country.
Because last in team put him just like in line can place clear so that government or lot plus stakeholders must also look somewhere one and people walk him so that if you make an order work boom one time, you make and fix him society by me.
Vasanata Yama, National Emtv News, Mount Hagen.
The Maprik District Development Authority has partnered with the National Development Bank to roll out the loan assistance scheme in the district. Through this partnership, up to 1 million kina will be made available by NDB for farmers to get loans for school fees, youth entrepreneurship programs, including agriculture. The initiative is to encourage people to be self-reliant and not rely on handouts.
When signing the agreement, a check of 1 million kina was also presented to NDB to signify the start of the loan assistance program. Maprik MP John Simon said under this scheme, students can now get loans for school fee assistance.
Eminim school beginning in high school you go to college. Puma you plan him hard to buy school fee, you can go to NDB na now. Plan the hard finish. Only ask him how bumla make him, when him time to make him. Mivla just la launch him this program now work by start. Money is stopping this when the NDB.
But there are requirements that students must meet to be eligible for the loan. Each student must have up to 1 hectare of cocoa plot and they can access up to 5,000 kina under this loan assistance scheme with a longer loan repayment time. Maprik DDA CEO Joshua Jimenez says this is a way of rehabilitating existing cocoa farms in the district.
The first one is for school fee assistance. So we are not going to pay free school fee. You have to toil the soil. And that 12.3 million cocoa trees is in existence. We have not seen the full production capacity of this. You fix your cocoa trees, help us to beat the 2,000 tons production level and go into its full production. You also help to pay for your school fee and you help the district economy to grow.
Apart from the school fee assistance, youths can also access loan to start small businesses under the Youth Entrepreneurship Program.
You can also apply for the Youth Entrepreneurship Program assistance and start up a small business. While you are doing your matriculation program, you start your small business. So you can start to be self-reliant. When you get up to university, you can be able to pay your own school fee because you already have a business you've started from the Youth Entrepreneurship Program.
The DDA CEO further adding that farmers can also access loan through this scheme to help develop their cocoa blocks. He further challenged the people to make use of this opportunity to be self-reliant and to help grow the district economy through agriculture.
People are not self-reliant, and we looked at that for the next 10 years. This is not encouraging for us in Maprik. We don't want to see begging population. We don't want to see dependent population. We want to see people, families that are self-reliant.
Rayon Lakingu, National Emtv News.
Education Secretary Dr. Uge Kombra has ordered a report from the administration of Balob Teachers College in Leh before he can give a response to students' concerns raised on media yesterday. Up to 40 continuing students from the Teachers College in Leh were denied registration by the administration for being late. They were told by the administration to withdraw and register again next year. In a phone interview with Dr. Kombra today, he said the administration should deal with the students on a case-by-case basis. More than 10 cartons of reading books were donated to Porabada Elementary School this morning by New Power through their community initiative programs. The books presented will help these elementary kids to read, speak, and understand English better.
The reading books presented this morning were purchased by New Power for the 5 elementary schools: Kido, Papa Lealea, Boira, and Poribada in the Karakuhiri electorate of Central Province. Each of these schools will receive 1,000 books each. These books were supplied by Bukbulong Pikinini at a total cost of 19,000 kina. The objective of New Power's community investment program is to work in partnership with the Hiri local level government through its ward councillors. It aims to foster partnership in bringing about meaningful sustainable development projects through education, sports, churches, women activities, and providing water tanks. New Power External Affairs Manager Wellington Belawa wants to see continuous community engagement with project communities through the initiative.
The activities we engage in are community-based. When we receive requests from the community through our community liaison officer, Bisia Gator, we process them.
Poribada Elementary School head teacher Jack Mario says these books will help broaden the minds of these children.
And through reading, it broadens up knowledge, understanding of whatever subjects, whatever topics in our lessons.
School board chairman Busina Lawyer urged all the teachers to use the materials during their class time to teach the kids.
I'm pretty sure and I'm confident the books here will go a long way in enhancing the potential of the young children here in academic performance.
The New Power business is owned 50-50 by Kumul Energy Limited and Oil Sedge Power Holdings Limited. New Power currently has one key asset, and that is the Port Moresby Power Station. It is located near the PNG LNG plant site at Papa Lea Lea. Michelle Stephen, National Emtv News.
We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll bring you the news on the COVID-19 and coronavirus. Welcome back to the news. COVID-19 is rapidly spreading across Australia, with our closest neighbour confirming its second death today. Back here in PNG, the National Department of Health will be on radio silence with media on COVID-19 updates until next week Friday. The question of what the government is doing to lift preventive and preparedness measures is still hanging in the air as neighbouring countries like Australia and Fiji close off their borders to countries with high recorded and confirmed cases.
The last statement made by the government on its effort to protect PNG borders from COVID-19 was 5 days ago when Prime Minister James Marape returned from Solomon Islands.
Our efforts in ensuring that coronavirus that is now has perpetuated many nations around the world, in fact 37 nations, do not hit our soil. If it does hit our soil, then we nation ready, prepared to ensure that the virus is contained. So I have the pleasure of asking the Deputy Prime Minister to assume.
The Prime Minister allowing the Deputy Prime Minister to give an update on how PNG will try and prevent the virus from entering our shores and how we are preparing to contain a looming outbreak.
There will be an information paper going to NEC this week where all the reports will be presented and necessary decisions will be made. We would like to inform our citizens that we have now gone from containment to information and management. And this is the phase in which we will be informing our people and our institutions, all the sectors of our country, on the steps that must be taken.
How, where and what exactly the government will do is understood to be detailed in an information paper that DPM has said NEC will sit on and deliberate. The information paper put together by NUH technical team and WHO. The acting secretary, Dr. Paisen Dakulala, unable to tell the media the recommendation put forward, but would allow NEC to decide on what is best for the country.
By today, our ministerial task force high-level ministerial committee will get access to that, so they will also put in their thoughts on it. And their meeting is probably on Tuesday, so you will know a little bit more clearly when our government sit down and assess this fully in that NEC emergency discussions. So I'd rather leave it to them to make those calls.
Emtv has heard that NEC to date has not set on the information paper as of yet, and the ministerial task force team comprising of key agencies headed by the Health Minister today formally met for the first time. The Nurses Association also questioning if the government is prepared, as nurses around the country have not received rodent training or protective gear.
If they are looking after the patients, how are they going to be looked after? Their insurance must be in there. Or should there be any risk allowance? Or what are the protective gears, personal protective gears? Those are things that they must make it available, so that when nurses are pulled out, just like in any disaster that they normally do, they do pick up nurses, and those are the special nurses that they'll be picked up, trained, and will be specifically attached to manage coronavirus.
Meanwhile, the usual media briefing on COVID-19 with NUOH for this week has been moved to next week Friday. But the Health Minister's media team releasing pictures on social media that the government yesterday had fundraised 500,000 kina to donate to China to assist in their fight against the virus. The event closed to media. The silence amongst authorities leaving the question of are we prepared unanswered as countries around the world begin to compile growing death counts and confirmed cases of COVID-19. Adelaide Kikori, National, Emtv News.
Around 150 passengers from the Diamond Princess have been released from Darwin's quarantine center after spending 2 weeks in isolation. The group was evacuated from Japan last month after the cruise ship was quarantined in Yokohama.
Journey for many of these Diamond Princess cruise ship passengers who are finally headed back to their home states. Hundreds of them were stranded in Japan when their holiday turned into a nightmare because of a coronavirus outbreak on board. The Australian government sent authorities to bring them home as infections on the ship reached the hundreds. Some question why it didn't happen sooner.
Once they've been sort of found out that there was a problem, perhaps if we got off as soon as that was a problem, then it may have been better and less people might have been infected because the numbers were on the rise each day.
After they arrived in Australia, they were put into quarantine for 14 days in Howard Springs, and they say they were given the best possible treatment by staff.
Thank you, the OSMED and all the army. Doesn't matter what condition, the weather, they all bring out food on time, and water, you name it, they got it. Sometimes we say, you spoil him. He got too many choice.
In any case, the time to finally go back home was met with excitement and relief.
We haven't had toast in over a month. We're looking forward to sourdough toast and Vegemite.
It was awful when we weren't allowed out for about 5 days. I think we'd only been out twice.
One person from the group has died after contracting the virus. Around 10 others are in isolation in hospitals across the country. While the whole experience has made some skeptical about getting on another ship, others say another holiday is necessary.
I think I need another holiday after this.
Health authorities want to reassure the public that this group of evacuees is free from infection, and after more than a month of being caught up in an unforgettable experience, they can finally resume their normal life.
Australia has also confirmed an 8-month-old baby and mother are the nation's latest coronavirus cases. They arrived to South Australia from Iran on Sunday. More than 50 people across the Tasman have now been affected with 2 deaths. The latest in aged care home residents in Sydney, where it's feared an outbreak could kill more.
Rest home now at the centre of Australia's coronavirus crisis. An infected 95-year-old female resident has died, while an 82-year-old man is in critical care.
They haven't told us anything. We're not in lockdown. But we won't be able to visit.
It's believed an aged care worker brought the virus in. She's now in isolation along with 11 exposed residents.
They'll be in their 70s and 80s.
Also being tested, children and teachers from a nearby play centre who visited the facility. Officials admit it's unlikely they can now contain coronavirus.
Our members of our community have to be doing everything they can do
to support the endeavour to defeat what really has become a war.
2 doctors at different Sydney hospitals have also been infected. Around 100 staff and patients they made contact with are in quarantine.
So far it's been positive. There's nobody else showing any symptoms of COVID-19.
Australia today bolstering its border by extending its travel ban from China and Iran to South Korea. It'll also now screen and quiz all travellers from Italy.
Anyone failing those checks will be denied approval to board.
As cases mount, so do concerns.
Jesus.
Supermarkets are selling out of essentials as people rush to stockpile. Customers limited to 2 bottles of hand sanitizer and 4 packets of toilet paper. A shortage made worse when a truck delivering toilet paper rolled and caught fire.
The New Zealand Ministry of Health says the Northern Italian tour group that was touring New Zealand flew out of the country last night. It comes as Italy deploys drastic measures to contain the rapid and deadly spread of the virus.
Unexpected break for students across Italy. From tomorrow until March 15th, teaching activities will be suspended in schools and universities. The fortnight shutdown comes as Italy deploys drastic measures to stop the coronavirus spread.
It's a problem because we have to stop the exams.
Some disappointed, others realistic.
It's not a question of panicking, but taking the necessary measures.
With the death toll now surpassing 100, sports fans also shut out. Sporting events will be carried out without the presence of the public. Extra cleaning had been ordered in Italy's football stadiums as games were postponed, but they're set to resume in empty arenas for at least the next month. Meanwhile, China's draconian actions to contain the virus appear to be working. Officials there reporting just 140 new cases today, 300 fewer than South Korea. South Korea's president declaring war on the fast-moving pathogen. A British expert describing the epidemic's likely profile.
You can think of it as roughly 2 to 3 months from an outbreak of sustained person-to-person transmission, 2 to 3 months up to the peak, and 2 to 3 months after the peak to decline again.
Tonga now has its first suspected infection. A 21-year-old Tongan woman arrived from Sydney on Monday with flu-like symptoms. She's in the capital's hospital awaiting test results. So far, there have been more than 10 suspected cases in vulnerable Pacific Island nations.
So far, all of it has confirmed negative. But of course, in case of positive, we need to do the protective measures.
New Zealand is jointly funding the World Health Organization's Pacific Response Plan, with outbreak training underway in Tonga. Coronavirus laying low someone who's proved indestructible for decades.
We all have our secrets.
The latest Bond movie, No Time to Die, has seen its April launch date put back until November. With cinemas likely to be closed, especially in lucrative Asian markets, producers are banking on the virus to be under control by then.
The third confirmed case of coronavirus in New Zealand marks a major development to the spread of the disease. It's the first time the virus has been transmitted locally, someone catching it in New Zealand rather than overseas. The infected man in his 40s has families who have recently travelled from Iran before travel restrictions were put in place. Here's today's development.
Goodbye and finally freedom for 6 New Zealanders flown back and quarantined after being stuck on the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan. Put on this military base to protect the rest of us, it's now outside where cases are growing.
The third case did not travel to Iran.
He hadn't been overseas at all, but the man's family had. They were in Iran and came back into the country last month on a Qatar Airways flight from Doha. The man stayed in Auckland and was likely infected by his family members once they'd come back.
And it's very clear here this is a case of person-to-person transmission inside New Zealand.
Until now, sick people here were infected overseas. The man's in his 40s and his relations who earlier felt unwell aren't being classed as official cases because they're now symptom-free.
We have located some of our senior staff with the
Auckland Regional Medical Officer of Health and her staff.
That move comes as 2 more schools become tangled in Auckland's coronavirus web. Children from this latest case's family went to Ormiston Junior College, which says it's following what officials say to do, and Auckland Grammar, which says it's been reassured students haven't been exposed. That's because none of the family's children are showing symptoms.
So there is no risk to students or staff at either of these schools.
But the man went to an unnamed medical centre while he did have symptoms.
We have a comprehensive pandemic plan that is in place and the kind of system that is able to track and trace individual members.
That's being put to the test. Another hunt is on to find patients who were near him, while a worker who treated him is in 2 weeks isolation. Also in isolation, Air New Zealand staff who were near our second confirmed case on an international and 2 domestic flights. They'll be home for 2 weeks.
Chukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. To boxing, the Olympic qualifiers continues in Amman, Jordan. PNG's only female boxer took on her Mongolian opponent but lost her bout in the end. It was a hard-fought battle. Yesterday, John Ume defeated his Saudi Arabian opponent, Nassim Sadiq, in a technical knockout in the 3rd round. Ume was expected to take on his Mongolian opponent this afternoon in the 2nd preliminary round. A win over Mongolia will put him in contention to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. Flora Loga was a gold medalist at the 2019 Pacific Games and was hoping to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. She lost to a more experienced boxer who is the current Asian champion in the 54 to 57 kilogram division.
Exchange of jabs and then hard arcing punches landed by both boxers during that coming together. And again, Temurkayag trying to get onto the front. Impression in the mind of the judges. Nice jab landed off the back foot by Loga. Beautiful jab scored once again, but that's a hard right-hander from Temurkayag. What an action-packed opening 3 minutes. My goodness.
Very impressive. Both not afraid to take the measure and step in and give a little to get.
And PNG's Jamie Chang will fight on Saturday afternoon in the 57 kilogram category against Iran. In athletics, Pacific Sprint queen Toya Whistle is preparing for her upcoming international meet. Her advice to young athletes pursuing a career on the tracks is time and commitment. That's what it takes to be successful. Kodwaneki reports.
Whistle, who is preparing for the World Indoor Athletics Championships in China, also has other events to look forward to, such as the Oceania Champs in Sydney, Melbourne and Wellington. While these events are crucial for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, Whistle says after the Pacific Games last year, she has been on the track since then, training for various international meets.
So I've always been confident, you know, I mean, like, you need to be training hard and you know like, you know, the hard work you put in, the better results you get. So for me, I've always been confident with the performance and athletics, my passion. So I want to, you know, finish my career when I'm retiring, look back, and you don't want to regret.
Whistle, who is not ready to leave the tracks anytime soon, says the older she is getting, the wiser and perhaps faster she has gotten.
Depends on your body tells you. If it's enough, it's enough. But for me, when I'm getting older, the stronger, more wiser, and running quick time still. So I don't know. I might be going yet. We'll see.
She says while top athletes such as Ryan Pinney and Dikatoa and other big names in sports have to live some time and end their sporting careers, Whistle, who is concerned about the future representatives, says it is up-and-coming youngsters that will take over the challenge in the future and represent PNG. She has challenged the young athletes to put in hard work at the start because it will only pay off at the end if they make time and concentrate.
athletics it's where my heart is, and trying to support the young kids too. After example like swimming, after Ryan, we have young ones coming up, but you know, we need to work hard to build them up. Can be like Ryan Pinney. So after myself, I can see the boys and the girls, they still coming up, they learn, but they're stronger in their mind. If they put hard work into more training and more commitment with training, if they can balance life, training will come naturally.
Whistle says 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games are certainly going to be different to this year's Games in Tokyo. Godwin Eki, National Emtv Sports.
And in rugby league, the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium will be the home of the Port Moresby Vipers once completed. The stadium is in its final stages and should be ready by mid this year.
The Port Moresby Vipers have not had a field to play their home matches, but use the Oil Search National Football Stadium for training and to play their matches. The Sir Hubert Murray Stadium has been allocated to them as their home ground, but construction has not been completed.
NCDC has actually put in the last bit of funding to complete that structure, Hubert Murray Stadium, and of course we will be very proud to have that stadium as our very own home ground for maybe not so early in 2020. We may continue to use NFS Stadium, but that will be our home ground. And
once completed, the stadium will have all the necessities for the club. The training and home matches will be played there during the Intercity Cup competition.
And of course, we'll have a facility in there, our clubhouse, almost everything. So it's the future is only better and brighter for us with all those facilities coming to completion.
Gate takings has been an issue for the team due to their performance over the past few years. Chairman Dr. Newton Albert has asked people in the nation's capital to get behind the Vipers at every home game.
According to PNC NRLC, when being the host of a particular game, you're entitled to certain portion. We have been disadvantaged in that area where we haven't actually got any dividends or any payments out of hosting the games due to the very fact that the operation of NFS is pretty expensive. I think it's more than what we make.
The Vipers recently named a 35-man train-on squad, which will be trimmed to 25 in the next 3 weeks before season proper. Elijah Levette, National Emtv Sports.
More stories after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To football, the New Zealand football ferns have produced a near-perfect penalty performance against Belgium in the opening game in Portugal.
Looked on course to win in normal time thanks to Olivia Chance's first half strike, but a second yellow card for Claudia Bunge and a late Belgium equaliser threw everything up in the air. To penalties with the scores locked at 6-all.
Sarah Wanyata, and it's saved by Naylor brilliantly. This can seal it, and it does. That's it.
7-6 in the shootout. Extra special for Sarah Gregorius, celebrating a century of games with a goal in the shootout, then announcing she's quitting international football.
I am absolutely delighted that Gregor's got to have her 100th game for New Zealand and scoring a pen, ending on a high, really.
The Ferns will play either Portugal or Italy in the semis.
3.
And more penalty drama, this time in the FA Cup round of 16. Tottenham bundled out by lowly Norwich, then totally imploding off the field with Eric Dyer taking exception to something in the crowd, jumping over the barrier and hurtling up the stand towards a fan. The incident evoking memories of another Eric, Manchester United legend Cantona, who infamously kung fu kicked a fan at Selhurst Park in 1995.
You're watching National MTV News, the weather forecast for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Trukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Port Moresby, partly cloudy with chances of evening showers. Daru, morning rain showers. Kerama, partly cloudy with chances of afternoon showers developing. Arotau and Popondetta, mostly fine, then afternoon showers developing. To the Mamase region and inlay, a cloudy morning, then chances of afternoon showers developing. Madang, partly cloudy with chances of afternoon showers. Wuak, cloudy periods with a few showers during the day. Vanimo, cloudy with morning showers. To the New Guinea Islands region in Lorengau, Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy periods with few showers developing. Kavieng, cloudy with showers developing. Kimbe and Buka, mostly fine, then chances of afternoon showers developing. And finally, in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa, cloudy to rainy periods. Mendi and Wabe, cloudy with chances of rain.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Thursday the 5th of March 2020. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.